Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run. I said that we're playing as Blue Baby. So today's Daily Run I think started out on the right foot, but the problem was that maybe because this is a Blue Baby run, you can't really expect it to go super well, and I don't think this one did either. I was surprised to actually rank so low as I did, but I will kind of explore those thoughts throughout the video. The first one here, Holy Mantle, is definitely a good pickup. I think it's safe to say this is like one in the top 5% of the items that you can hope to find. It's just so good. It kind of protects you from damage, reduces your damage penalty overall. I don't think it's gonna make or break a run, like it's not gonna win you a run outright, but it's definitely gonna be, I would say, a good catalyst to help you, for example, to get to the Dark Room via the Sacrifice Room. It just allows you to really preserve those spirit cards to its greatest effect. And I think an additional, I would say, usage of this item is that it does allow you to open up maybe spike chests, and that gives you a little bit more consumables. It allows you to maybe walk over spikes sometimes, and just overall, I would say it makes you a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more confident in, for example, using your orbital. And if you have a run like this one, where the run is relatively weak and you actually don't have much in base damage and base DPS, then you're gonna be left in a position where you really want to capitalize on your orbital, and really the only way to do that safely to some extent is when you have the Holy Mantle shot. It's also, I think, good practice because now you can suddenly do and try to get close to personal to the enemies without really risking anything. Even if you get hit, you only lose your Holy Mantle, and then you can always go back and just play a little bit safer, and only for the remainder of that room. And I feel like this power, I would say, the fact that it's a very permanent effect, like you get it every single room, really gives this item its staying power, and it's really what I think makes it a really good item. For example, there's a trinket that only gives you Holy Mantle once per floor, and obviously in that particular instance, you're gonna be looking at it like this is an additional hit that I cannot waste, which means you're still gonna play safe, and if accidentally maybe you get hit, then sure, you know, at least you had that Holy Mantle charge. But in this particular case, you don't really look at it that way because it's so disposable to some extent. You get it every single room. You can kind of afford to be more crass about it. You can be, I would say, a bit more adventurous, and you can just really run into enemies and just do a lot of things that way. So it's really, if you're gonna have an item, like I said, I think Holy Mantle is gonna be one of the ones that you would most desperately wish for. But even what Holy Mantle can do, like I said before, is make a bad run good. And especially when you go to the Dark Room, and basically any room which will take like 20 to maybe even more 30 seconds to defeat, just because the enemies have a lot of HP, or maybe because you're fighting a boss, you're gonna be left in a position where Holy Mantle is not really gonna help you all that much. Sure, you know, it's gonna block that first shot, but you're gonna get hit 2 or more times per that room, just because, you know, it's gonna be very difficult to navigate. And especially later on, because I pick up Small Rock, I'm left at 0.9 speed, and that actually disallows you to outrun someone like the Fallen. So that means you're just kind of bound to take damage, especially if you encounter a room which has 2 Fallens in the room, and after they split, of course, there's gonna be 4 of them if you're maybe not methodical about it, and you're just gonna take damage. There's no way to avoid it. And of course, the more damage you take in a room, the less effective Holy Mantle is. If you're only going to get hit once, that's essentially 100% effectiveness of blocking damage for that room. But if you're gonna get hit 5 times, then it's gonna be only like a 20% chance of effectiveness. So it does lose the effectiveness the longer the room goes on. So you really wanna, I would say, develop a playstyle where you really kind of take a risky maneuver. You just try to beat it as fast as possible. And I feel like for that reason, the Bowl of Bandages here is definitely one of those good pickups. It's only going to carry us up until a certain point. Obviously, beating the Fallens or maybe any other high health boss later on is going to be still quite difficult, but at least, you know, it does give us an option. The reason why I was so surprised at the end to have ranked so badly is mainly because if you see and look at my items, I don't have much. This is actually one of the worst runs I've had in a long time, just in terms of stats. Sure, you know, we have 3-6 damage, and 6 delay is just very good and very decent. I'm definitely able to deal with enemies, mostly because I have the Bowl of Bandages, but a lot of other people seem to have a much better time overall, and I'm not sure, maybe there was a Purge Rune which I didn't really utilize to its fullest extent. I could have rerolled maybe, for example, Krampus's head, and I think that gave you the Eye of Belial or the Possessed there, so you know that would definitely be an improvement to some extent. But even beyond that, I just don't see where the people actually got the buffs and the items that they needed in order to really be successful in this runs. Or maybe I would say even better, how did they even manage to get to boss rush? I'm sure that maybe I missed something at a certain point, or maybe I just picked up the wrong item when I entered the Devil Deal. I actually went for the left one in this case. Usually I think most people will go for the right one, just because it's gonna be closer to the door, and obviously you only have 6 spirit hearts, so you can only afford afford one. So maybe there's some difference or maybe some variation there. And obviously because I couldn't see what the item was because it was Curse of the Unknown, that's a decision I really can't beat myself over. But I feel like there were plenty of chances to have a strong run, and I just guess couldn't capitalize on it. Maybe I just didn't pick the right active item in this case, or maybe I tried to make the compost work a little bit too much like I usually do and just ended up not being that effective. But regardless, I did go to the end, and of course at a certain point there was a sacrifice room. I missed boss rush, I played it the best I could, and then of course when I did get to the dark room I went through it, and it basically took me like 15 minutes, just a lot of busy work just because there were so many enemies that had a lot of HP. I did pick up Small Rock at a certain point like I mentioned, and the only other damage upgrade here was Lusty Blood, and even that wasn't really enough to kind of keep me safe from harm. And I did take a lot of damage, but I guess at least, you know, I did a lot of exploration and didn't miss out on too many rooms, and in the end, you know, we still managed to rank pretty decently. Obviously it could have been a lot better, and obviously I think I did miss something very obvious, and I would like to know maybe why that was. If you were playing this daily as well, and if your run was stronger than mine was, I wonder maybe where the paths deviated, and maybe which items you found that I didn't, or maybe just I didn't play as well as I usually do because maybe I'm tired, I'm not sure. But you know, it's still, I feel like it was a decent run, and if nothing else, I usually enjoy a challenge. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.